Welcome into a brand new edition of Believe in Panthers here on the Believe Podcast Network, brought to you by the fine folks over at FanDuel. Desmond Johnson from Tobacco Road Sports Radio in the house, along with the Panthers' all-time leading rusher, Jonathon Stewart. And the Panthers are 1-0. You would think that they just won the Super Bowl after seeing that exciting celebration after the Hall of Fame game. Haynes King, the hero of the greatest Hall of Fame preseason game of all time, apparently. Stu, you were there. We'll come back to the game in a second. I want to skip ahead to Saturday in the Hall of Fame ceremony. I saw some of your video on Instagram, having a ball, being in Canton, being surrounded by former teammates and friends. What was the most special part of the weekend for you? As of course, Luke Kuechly got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, second youngest inductee of all time, only behind the great Gale Sayers, who went in at age 34. Luke goes in at age 35. That's insane by itself. But was there a particular part of the weekend that stands out to you that you'll remember?
I mean, all of it's going to be memorable. First and foremost, man, congratulations to Luke. And just all of the guys that got inducted to the Hall of Fame. I mean, Roger Craig, being able to meet him, and seeing Drew Brees, a guy that, I've, seen on the field literally in fourth quarters with 2 minutes left on the games, many of times, marching himself down to a victory against the Panthers. Has been pretty annoying for some time there. But just being able to see, Larry Fitzgerald, good friend of mine, and just, have these moments with these guys in such a historical moment and situation. I mean, it's just beautiful. The people's families were there, friends were there, teammates were there, coaches were there. And so all of it together, I actually was talking to some teammates of mine and just saying, like, man, I would have loved to experience this as a young athlete. Maybe even a rookie in the league, but like for sure a young athlete. And Charlotte Christian, Greg and Luke and I coach middle school football. We had a couple of our middle schoolers come to the game.
I saw that,
Greg, brought them along and made sure that they were set and everything. And they got to experience, Luke receive such an honor with the golden jacket and be amongst the elite greats in the NFL, right? The gauntlet. You talked about my favorite moment. My favorite moment was on Friday night, to be honest. Friday night was when they were getting the gold jackets, and they had 120 gold jackets in one room.
Nick Carboni was telling us about this yesterday. He was like, it took like an hour for like everybody getting in, but you didn't care.
And if it was anything else going on, people would have left that place. But it was like watching one of the wonders of the world take place in front of you, where you have the Jerry Rices, you have Emmitt Smith, you have the Marshall Faulk, you have Larry Zonka, you know what I'm saying? You have Swan. You have like all these guys that you're just like, wow, I forgot about him. But he's here and he's alive. And he's here being able to make a moment for Luke Kuechly, the second youngest behind Gale Sayers to receive a golden jacket. You got Larry Fitzgerald being welcomed with arms with Chris Carter. Like, if you're a football fan, this is what you love. This is what it's all about. And it really puts into perspective as far as what these guys have done on the field, but more importantly, who they were off the field. Because all those guys that I just mentioned were good dudes.
Yeah.
And Luke is one of those guys that just embodies what it means to be a Hall of Famer, a Hall of Fame player and a Hall of Fame person. But I would say my favorite part of the weekend was Friday night, watching Luke getting an opportunity to go down the gauntlet with all these gold jackets, just patting him on the back, high fives, dapping him up, hugs, the embracement of the elite brotherhood. That's what was special. Because as a player, I know that to be true as far as what you miss from the game. And it's moments like that, the gauntlet, being around guys that got your back, being around guys that you're now a part of this elite group, right? There's this brotherhood, this bond that will never ever be broken. That golden jacket bond will never be broken.
It's an exclusive club. There's not a lot of people letting that club, and for him to get in there.
I'm gonna say too, like when you talk about Hall of Fame, you have the basketball Hall of Fame, you have baseball, you have so many Hall of Fames, right? You have college football Hall of Fame, but there's nothing, and I mean nothing, like the NFL football Hall of Fame. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's just one of my favorite moments was watching Chris Carter help down the older Golden Jackets. Chris Carter, helping these older guys that are like barely walking, but trying their best to like walk and make it known that they're still capable of getting down the gauntlet, getting down the steps. And Chris Carter's right there in the front. Julius Peppers on the other side helping the other guys down the steps if they need help, if they want help. Larry Zonko was walking up there. He said, I don't need no help. He had a cane and everything, but you can tell he wanted to go out there, and all he cared about was showing that he can still stand on his own 2 feet.
You know, it's crazy. We focus so much on Luke getting into the Hall of Fame the past couple of weeks. We didn't really talk about the class he was going in with.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the class. First of all, this is a great class. This is a fantastic class.
Fantastic.
And all of them, except for Roger Craig, have some sort of connection to the Carolina Panthers. And usually it's in a bad way for the Panthers. So Drew Brees, we talked about him. He terrorized us in the NFC South for a decade plus. Adam Vinatieri kicked a field goal to win a Super Bowl against the Panthers in Super Bowl
Adam
38.
Vinatieri was hilarious.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I saw some of his stuff. He was really, really good. And then who am I missing? Roger Craig, we missed him. He retired by 1993, but he was the first running back to catch for 1,000 yards and run for 1,000 yards. We can connect that to our own CMC, one of only 3 running backs of all time to even do it. Marshall Faulk is the third. And then Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Panther fan, his name is burned into your brain because during was it 2008, 2009, the playoff, the Jake Malone interception game.
Yeah, 2008. It was my rookie year.
Okay, so it was the year before you and D'Angelo both ran for 1,100, but we were in the playoffs against Arizona at home. Yep. And Jake picked a bad day to have a bad day. But meanwhile, on the other side, Larry Fitzgerald was terrorizing our defense. He caught like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, it was, the whole day was a mess.
Disgusting.
It was hot, but he was in the middle of it, like all of it. So having that class going together, and shout out to Roger Craig. I'd be remiss not to mention that he revealed that he had been diagnosed with early stage of dementia. And the fact that he brought that up during the ceremony, I like the fact that he did that to show awareness. This game can be
using
hard,
using a stage to bring awareness to all that. But yeah, man, much prayers to him, and I'm just glad that he got an opportunity to be honored for being who he is and who he has been to the position, to the game of football. Well overdue. Which, I mean, we can talk about this later on another on another time because we have to get through this. But the Hall of Fame thing, let's cut the crap. The folks that are Hall of Famers, we know who they are.
Oh yeah.
Let's just go ahead and give them let's give them the gold jacket while they're alive, please.
I don't understand how Bill Belichick wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. I understand there's people that don't like him in the media and stuff like that, but he wasn't first ballot like that. Come on now,
look,
like that.
Adrian Peterson. Adrian talking about the guys that are going to be on the docket next year. Adrian Peterson, he is a Hall of Famer. Gronkowski, he is a Hall of Famer.
There's a guy. I've had this argument with people for years now. Cam Newton will be eligible next year for the Hall of Fame. Is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? I've said yes. Like, if you go and look in the history books, the records this dude holds will not be broken anytime soon. That's
what I'm just saying. Let's cut the crap. At some point, the way things how things used to be, it no longer needs to be, because you got to get with the times.
You do.
Like, people know more. People have more like knowledge of who their favorite players are, and
they can get it on the hip,
who's
like,
deserving.
fast. Yeah. Like, it should be fairly easy to select the class next year. I'll be very interested to see. Now, there will be an argument if Cam gets in first ballot and Luke did not, and Julius Peppers did. Did Julius Peppers get in first ballot? I think he did.
I think he did.
I think he did. He should have. Like if he
but I'm pretty sure he did.
I think he did. Now you said this is your first time to Canton. I've been before. My family my in-laws live in Cleveland, so it's right there off of 77 on the way up to Cleveland, about an hour south. What was your favorite part of Canton? Because I assume you got a chance to actually tour the Hall of Fame building. And again, like you said earlier, if you've never been, it's not just the NFL Hall of Fame, it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's all these different leagues from back in the day, all these records and pictures, and it's so cool if you're a football fan. Did you have a favorite part of Canton itself?
You know, my favorite part of Canton was that it was pretty much probably the same as it always been. There's nothing, as far as the building, the real estate, the land there, the infrastructure, it's very simple living. And what I most enjoyed was you had stars from all over the place, Hall of Famers from all over the place coming into one town for one thing and one thing only. And it's to honor the guys that are in the gold jackets. And outside of that, everybody's on the same playing field, right? There's no, good treatment here. I mean, the best hotels were, the worst hotels in other cities, right? Like, I loved the charm of Canton. I loved that it pays homage almost to the charm, to the sense that, hey, humble beginnings, right?
Yeah.
This is where football began. This was the birthplace of the NFL.
Canton Bulldogs, baby. Yeah.
I mean, it was a beautiful, setting. The weather was great. I loved how intentional the Hall of Fame, the actual venue, how intentional it's set to the stadium. I love that it's right there in the heart of like where everything is, and I just loved how the access. For the most part, man, everything was just in touch, like
just
for the youth to be able to go in, go out, and so much history. There's so much history. You got all the different shoulder pads, different helmets, mouthpieces.
Cool.
You got all the history. If you did not know anything about football, you were from like Amazon or something like that, and you came to America and you was like, what is football? Well, you leave the Hall of Fame venue and you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
It's one of them places where once you get through it all, you're like, oh man, I wish there was like another wing like to go into. Like you don't want to leave. Now I don't want to stay on the actual Hall of Fame game long, because it's been almost a week now since we had it. And I'm not going to linger on the score or any of that stuff. I will say, when I spoke to you and I was like, I promised my wife I'm not going to watch this entire game, because I know by the time we get to the third, fourth quarter, it's going to be people that probably aren't going to be on the roster, in a month. So I'm not going to make you watch this game for 3.5 hours. No. Man, when I went to sleep and woke up the next morning, my entire social media was like going off on this being like the greatest preseason game of all time. And I'm like, what? I watched the first half and I was took aback by not just Carolina, Arizona, both the quarterbacks. Once Pickett was okay. He's fine. He'd get him out of here. But then Haynes King came in and started lighting it up. Carson Beck for Arizona was throwing like it was the middle of the regular season. Like he was throwing sidearm and like dropping dimes like over top of shoulder. I was like, yo, I thought the offenses were supposed to be behind and the defense is ahead at this time of the year. They've only practiced like 5 times before this game. The offenses were
clicking. It's fun when you watch an offense during preseason being able to put points up, and have guys click, right? Especially between the quarterback and the receivers. And it was cool to be able to see that for the Panthers with King, right? King him.
He number 2. He's him number 2 right now. I think he might have, when he hurt his hamstring on that last that run for the ages at the end, that they got him in. And I think for me the problem was, because I said this when we were talking about the rookies in the draft before, we were like, who's the guy that you're looking at? And I was like, for me, it's actually the undrafted rookie Haynes King from Georgia Tech, because he's the ACC Offensive Player of the Year, and I can't figure out why he didn't get drafted, other than the fact that he's I think he's 25. So that was that. And Georgia Tech runs this kind of wishbone style, don't throw a lot type of offense. I did not know until Thursday night watching this preseason game, Haynes King was a quarterback in Texas in high school and won a state championship. under his dad coaching in Texas. I'm like, oh, this dude can throw. I didn't know he could throw. I mean,
I blame Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia
Tech offensive coordinator was something similar to Oregon's offensive coordinator when Justin Herbert was at Oregon, and wasn't really using them like that, how they were supposed to. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
And so
now I do.
Now you got a guy.
There is no Bryce
Young. Panthers saw.
Yeah.
And now he's in the building, and all you got to do is just make sure you keep him healthy. Obviously, right? You know, he's a second string guy because Bryce is the man.
Yep.
But what I will say is, when I saw that guy out there, King, he reminded me of a guy named Taysom Hill.
Yeah, okay? And they could put some packages. Before we were saying they could put packages together for him to use his legs, right? But after watching that game, I'm like, nah, you could put a package, like a
legit package. You're going to throw that thing.
Yeah, 4th and 6, we're at the 50. You know, already know Dave Canales is like, go. Like, you bring in Haynes King, you don't know what they're going to do. And I love the fact that the Panthers adopted this last year. We all just kind of accepted it too. Like, you know, like back then you always went, oh, go for it when you're watching on TV and you know they're not going to do it. If the Panthers get around the 45, it's 4 down territory. Like it's, you know, it's 3rd and 6. All right, we got 2 plays to get this first down. Like, and I love that mentality because the defense, they're starting to realize, oh, they're going to go for it. Now we got a plan for this. They might even give us a chance to sub. Like, we're at midfield. We don't know what they're going to do. And it opens up the whole playbook. And the Panthers kind of figured it out last year. So I love that. We're not going to get into the Bryce scuffle. He had something with Mike Jackson in practice. It's preseason.
It's preseason. Look, this is what happens.
Seeing each other every day.
People are hot. They're tired of seeing each other. It's the same environment. It's camp. And then your mind, it's like it's camp, but really it's just practice, especially these days, man. Look, it ain't like it used to be. This is just practice.
Yeah.
They having regular season practice, but it's called camp. Okay. A little bit longer. That's about it. But they're tired of seeing each other. And they're ready to play football, right? They're in that in-between stage. And you're gonna get scuffles. And I think it's and sometimes it's healthy as long as everybody stays healthy and don't get hurt. Don't be swinging, you know, punches at helmets and
don't do
breaking your hand. But and I think you're gonna have those every year, right? You're gonna have someone do something that gets on somebody's nerves every single year. And at the end of the day, too, you want your quarterback to be able to protect himself, right? And you want your teammates to say, "Hey, don't touch my quarterback."
Yeah, what you doing?
Don't touch my running back. Don't touch my quarterback. If you see a receiver out there and he ain't looking at you, don't just wound off on him.
I wanted to, because I know you watch wrestling, and I thought about this before we came on, and I know you know who Paul Heyman is, and he has a thing where he has Paul Heyman guys, right? Yeah. I want to crown a new thing called Dan Morgan guys, where it's just, you could not have been drafted. You had to be undrafted, picked up by Dan Morgan, and now you're contributing on this team. Because I can count like 4, like right now. Of course, Jalen Coker is a Dan Morgan guy.
Yeah.
Corey Thornton.
Yep.
That's a Dan Morgan guy. I'm going to put Haynes King in there on Thursday. Haynes King, that's a Dan Morgan guy. I feel like I'm missing somebody that I can't count Mike Jackson as a Dan Morgan guy because he came in through a trade, but maybe he could.
I mean, T-Mac is a Dan Morgan guy. What do you mean?
Say what now?
T-Mac?
Yeah. See, I was saying it was going to be people he didn't draft, or it would have to be like this undrafted guys. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Every year he's had one dude that's ended up on the roster doing something. So Coker, Thornton, now King. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Yeah, Wheatley was drafted. Wheatley played pretty good in that game.
He did. Will Lee got burnt once early in the game, but he made up for it. He did. They got plans for these guys. Yeah. You know what I was thinking too, watching this, because they were talking about all the secondary that Carolina has. They are rebuilding the Legion of Boom.
Yeah,
they are literally.
I don't mind
them do it. Like
I don't mind it at all.
There's like 6 dudes, 7 dudes. They're all built the same. They're all long, 6'1", 6'2", wiry. Can get in the air. They got some speed on them. They can play multiple spots, and you kind of start to see who's the Richard Sherman here. Who's the what was his name? Damn cyborg that was jumping over our offensive line. You know who he is. Oh my gosh, I still think about this because he did it twice. You remember? He was the safety, big huge robot dude. Like, oh my gosh, this is gonna bother me for the rest.
Are you
of the
talking about from last year?
Nah,
Rookie?
from the Legion of Boom. Like he terrorized. He was the dude that jumped. We were trying to kick a field goal, and he jumped over
you
both
talking
lines.
about Cam Chancellor?
Cam Chancellor, yes, like that.
Cam Chancellor was a doggone.
Maybe that's
beast.
Lathan Ransom. Maybe that's Mooring. I don't know. Like I'm trying to piece who's who and what's what with these with what they had back then, because they would run basically dime and like run with a bunch of cornerbacks that would thump you, or safeties that would come down like Chancellor and hit you.
Willing and able tacklers.
Yes,
in the secondary.
That feels like what they're building, which I like, to go along with the defensive front that they got going on. I'm ready to see the starters, and Dave Canales said we should see the starters Saturday. Panthers taking on the Bills at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Actually, before we get into that real quick, I do need to drop the thing for FanDuel. The Panthers are at minus 8,000 odds to win the Super Bowl this year. Super Bowl 60.
You mean plus
61? Plus, plus 8,000. Yeah,
or
minus 8,000 would be crazy.
Yeah. I was about to say, boy, minus 8,000.
Let me go run over real quick.
Awesome. They think we are amazing.
They're at plus 320 to win the NFC South, and that might actually be the best odds.
Yeah, I'm taking that one
in the NFC South to win it. And there's even odds out if you really want to do it. If you want to bet on a preseason game, you got some odds here for Panthers versus Bills too. Minus 124 to win their next game, which would be at Buffalo. To do that, just go to sportsbook.fanduel.com, enter those in there, and you should be good to go. They'll be betting odds all year on the Panthers. They are 1.5 underdog in this game, and the total, they're saying 38.5. But again, it's preseason, so you don't even know who's playing. So take that for what you will.
You saw the Bill Stadium, how everybody was still getting rained on with that new stadium cover.
So, what, the Bills?
Yeah, they got a new stadium cover that's supposed to protect people from getting rained on.
I thought it was indoor. I thought they had an indoor stadium now.
It's outdoor. They were supposed to have covering, and it covers the top, the third tier of the building, but it don't cover the people that thought. I think people thought they was going to be covered through the season. It ain't going to happen. You still going to get
Buffalo
all the rain.
They built for it. They probably want to be outside anyway. Like I was thinking about that when they built the new stadium in Minnesota and made it an indoor stadium. You kind of take away the whole essence of having to go up there by doing that. Yeah. So I was hoping they didn't do that in Buffalo. But have you seen the new jerseys that they're trying to trot out? The Buffalo's wearing these Timu looking like.
We'll let the Buffalo fans figure out what they.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. That's this Saturday, and I'm trying to figure out how to watch it because I actually have a family reunion Saturday around the same time that I have to go to, and I think it's on CBS. But if I'm not mistaken, NFL Network and ESPN, NFL Network bought a stake in ESPN, and ESPN acquired NFL Network in the off seasons. For those who don't know, so NFL Network's actually a part of your ESPN Unlimited plan, and I think they run all the preseason games on NFL Network, so you should be able to get to it through ESPN Unlimited if you don't watch it when it first runs. Well, at least this is what I'm going with, so I'm hoping I can watch it there. The starters are supposed to play, according to Dave Canales, about 15 to 20 snaps. I'd imagine we'll see the defense longer than the offense, or depending on what the offense is doing. How did you get prepared for these kind of games where you knew you were on like a snap count, like coming in? Is it harder for a football player to like get up for this, knowing that I'm only going to be in there for like a quarter or whatever it is? How I don't understand. How do you mentally? How do you get rep for something like this?
I mean, you prepare like it's a game. That's what preseason's all about. This is an opportunity for you to get your pregame routine down, get your and that goes for the whole week, right? What do you do leading up to the game? How are you getting your body right? What are you eating? How are you hydrating? When are you going to sleep? Right? What are you doing to get a recap of what you've been learning throughout the week? So your film study, what are the things that you're, looking to get better at, right? From the week previous. So you're coming off the Hall of Fame game. What didn't work out? What was a little stressful? Take those notes and then go into the next week and try to correct those things, right? And so all of that is preparation for the game. So you're going into the game ready to run through a wall. That's how I prepared, right? Yeah. And the moment that you're pulled out of the game, now you can relax. Now you can go get you a little chili dog, you know what I'm saying? Get you a little hot dogs from Stan's. They got them sometimes they have the little hot dogs in the silver wrapper back there.
Yeah.
And we try to get the training staff, the equipment staff to go, scuffle a couple of them. And then you get your sunflower seeds and you get your hat. If you're a guy that's, fighting for a spot on the team, you're not really in that situation. But if you're a guy that's a first, a 1 or a 2 guy on the depth chart, by halftime, hopefully you done. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever ate during a game?
That's how you go about it.
Have you ever ate during a game, like a regular season game? Have you ever ate something on the sideline?
Oh yeah, I had peanut butter jelly sandwich. Peanut butter jelly sandwich every time.
Oh, okay.
Peanut butter jelly, a little applesauce.
Yeah.
And the squeezy pouches with the applesauce in it.
Do you do it like sneak tip, like so people can't see you because you don't know where the cameras are, or you just kind of
really?
Okay.
They used to have these Gatorade Chewies. I've had Starburst.
Really?
Actually, I would have I would put a couple of Starburst in my sock.
Yeah.
Come out there if I need a little sweet tooth.
I love it. Because you see people sometimes it's the worst in the NBA where like it'll be like a dude sitting on the bench trying to eat a hot dog or something in the middle of the game and they're like doing like this.
Yeah, you can't be doing. I mean, yeah, you eat the hot dog in the locker room before you come out.
Now I've seen some dudes. Usually it's like linemen. Like you'll see linemen with they'll be sitting way in the back like of the sideline. They're like eating something, but they're like this, so you can't really tell exactly what it is. But they're eating some like hot dogs or something like real quick in the middle of the game. I don't know if I ever asked you that question, so I didn't know if you'd ever done that before, if that's normal or not, because that's part of the game. They don't show.
I mean, you get hungry, man, especially when you're done playing. It's like, ooh, all the nerves are gone, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
you're relaxing now. Your stomach's like growling. You're like, man, let me eat, because I don't really eat that much before the game either.
See, that was another question, because I know a lot of athletes. Some athletes eat a whole lot and I guess load up on carbs and whatever before game, and I know some that don't eat anything until after the game, and then I gotta
be starving. I gotta be hungry before.
Yeah,
I gotta go out there like I gotta earn this.
Before we get out of here, talking about this Bills Panthers game on Saturday, this will be our first chance to see the starters actually out there, and I assume Josh Allen's going to play for the Bills, so we'll see him against our first team defense for at least a little bit in the first quarter. What are you looking for here? Because technically this is our second game, but our starters didn't play last week. This will be the first preseason game for Buffalo. What are you looking here in terms for improvement, or is there a particular player you're keeping an eye on? You mentioned Jimmy Horn Jr. last week. He actually flashed a lot on Thursday last week and actually would have had a touchdown, but King overthrew him in the end zone wide open. Who are you looking at, or what are you looking at for Saturday before we get out of here?
If our starters get in there, obviously I would just want to see, offensive line, taking, steps forward and continuing to opening up lanes and protect the ball carrier, and protect themselves, right? Obviously want to see those guys come out of the game clean, no injuries. That's number one. But it's interesting, we hear Canellis talking about Trevin Wallace and Claudin Cherelus, right? As far as a linebacking battle, right? There's the LB2 battle, and want to see which guy takes advantage of that, right? We already know going into training camp there was going to be eyes on certain positions, and linebacker being one of those. Obviously, oh
no,
there we go. It's just doggone thing, boy. I got one of them AI cameras.
Yeah,
be over here trying.
Yeah, I gotta ask you what camera you have, because I'm about to upgrade my camera, and I see you doing the stuff with your hand all the time. You're like,
yeah, thank
you. There it is.
All right, we're back.
Okay,
but I think you have going into every training camp, you have a battle going on at some position, and I think this is one of them. Which guy's going to be next to Devin Lloyd, and who can we depend on to make sure that the green dot position is secure. And I think, you have two guys that want it. You got two guys that have leadership qualities. And, it might come to a surprise for many, but it's not a surprise to me at all. I think this was one of those positions that we knew was going to have a little spice to it, in the sense of, hey, somebody got to, go out there and really make a statement. And so I think we're looking at that position this weekend for Trevin Wallace to be Trevin Wallace. You know, I believe that we've seen a lot of things from him last year that we liked, especially in coverage. I think, you know, when it comes to, the run support and the run game, you know, he was battling injuries last year, and a lot of guys are battling injuries. And I think that you have to take those things in consideration when it comes to how they do play. And I think he was limited last year in the run game because of injuries. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs, you know, going forward while he is healthy in the preseason, and seeing how he's able to adapt and grow in year 3 now? This is his 3rd year, right?
Yeah, year 3. Yeah.
And so, and then obviously now that, you know, King is hurt, he's not playing, you know, who's going to be the guy that can deliver the pill, right? Who, you know, obviously Bryce is the guy, but who's going to be the next guy? You know, because
I'd imagine we're going to see Pickett a lot.
Will he be able to deliver and outshine King? Right from the previous week.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's only gonna get tougher from here. That was the layup was last week. So like, I don't know. For me, before we get out of here, I'm curious what they do with Jonathon Brooks on Saturday, if he's actually going to play or not. I want to see him, but I don't know if I want to see him. Like, it depends on who's on the offensive line, I guess.
As a matter of fact, you talk about Jonathon Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathon Brooks was the one that got hit in practice. I'm actually reading this article right now, and so when it goes back to the Bryce scuffle, Bryce was trying to protect his running back. So Jonathon Brooks got hit by Lathan Ransom, and then Bryce took offense, right? Yeah. And then Bryce Young and Mike Jack got into it, jawing at each other as they do. And then he was like, "Nah, you ain't gonna hit my quarter. You ain't gonna hit my running back like that." So I appreciate that, Bryce.
Yeah,
Bryce Young, you looking at the running back like that?
I'd rather have a team doing that.
Get right back.
I'd rather have our team doing that than basically them walking away while they're thumping Jonathon Brooks and not saying anything.
Because he knows how important Jonathon Brooks is. Yeah. Right? So we're not doing anyone any favors by thinking, you know, doing something unnecessary to get guys hurt in practice while they're coming back from injury. Mm-hmm. We ain't doing nobody any good service. A nice thud is good. That's good enough. So I'm not really sure. I wasn't there. I don't know if he went down to the ground or what. It must have been violent enough to where Bryce Young, I mean, the nicest guy in the league, Bryce Young, for him to take up, you know, and have some words with Mike Jack, you know, over something that happened to his running back.
He is like the most laid back football player of all time. That Cali swag he got going on. But if you get him riled up, he can. Look, I've heard him dropping F-bombs in practice before. Yeah,
if Bryce was mad, somebody was wrong.
Somebody was wrong. Yeah, exactly. Bryce was angry. Somebody did something wrong. And Lathan Ransom, he's young. So, I mean, you're going to get something like that in every preseason at this point. People, they're tired of seeing each other, man. They've been seeing each other for a couple of weeks, just going up against each other every day. They want some fresh meat, and they'll get the Bills on Saturday. We'll be back next week. And when we come back next week, we'll probably hit you with some multiple episodes where we'll continue to keep track of the progress of the Panthers in the preseason, but we'll also start doing our division previews. We already did NFC South. We'll hit you with the rest of the league, our thoughts on that. Again, our annual pick'em. We'll go win-loss through the schedule. Usually do it after week 3 of the preseason when we kind of have an idea of what the roster is going to be and who's going to be the starters. We'll start to go through and see our win-loss picks. I don't think we've ever finished below 500 whenever we've done this, so I don't expect this year to do that. In fact, we might not lose a game. Who knows? Like we'll see when we get into it. But we got a lot coming for y'all. We are back on a more regular schedule here on Believe in Panthers. Make sure you check us out on all podcast platforms and the video exclusive to the Believe YouTube channel. Just go and subscribe to the Believe in Panthers playlist, and you'll get a notification for whenever a new one drops. So we're gonna get out of here for this week. Again, Panthers Bills 1 p.m. on Saturday. I believe it's on CBS. You should be able to catch it on NFL Network too, which is embedded into ESPN now. So we'll talk about that when we get back and some more. So for Jonathon Stewart, this is Desmond Johnson. You've been listening and watching to the Believe Podcast Network's presentation of Believe in Panthers. Keep pounding.